Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm Cody the Coin Raptor, and in today's video we're going to be talking about what's been going on with the Bitcoin price lately, why we have not seen a large price appreciation after the Bitcoin spot ETF approval, and my expectations for the Bitcoin price over the near term. But before we get to that, be sure to subscribe, be sure to hit that like button, and be sure to follow me on X. There's also, very interestingly, a certain group of people that have been selling Bitcoin during this latest rise. And we're going to get into that into the video, and we're going to talk about that probably about the last section of the video. So watch all this video and we'll go through that. Now, the first thing I want to talk about is Bitcoin price over the last 7 days, down about almost 11% or so. You can see here we're at the fear and greed index of about 61 now, very close to neutral. Very interesting. Most of the time we've been kind of stuck in greed or even extreme greed over the past 2 months. Now we're starting to see us slip back to neutral once more. Now, the first thing I want to talk about is the spot ETFs. Okay, so Bitcoin is now the second largest commodity ETF asset class in the US, ahead of silver. Okay, so let me repeat this again. Bitcoin is the second largest commodity ETF in the US. Okay, the gold's obviously number one. Silver is now bumped out of the number 2 spot, and Bitcoin has taken its place. Okay, now I think that this is not surprising to anybody who's followed the space and seen that there's been a significant interest in Bitcoin in the ETF space. But I think just kind of underscores the fact that this is a valuable asset that people want to own. This is a commodity that traditional investors are going to want to get involved with, and it has proven itself to be one of the strongest appreciating assets over the last year. Okay, so we've seen significant inflows. In fact, if we want to go ahead and take a look at this crypto quant dashboard by CQ Julio, we can actually see here the specific Bitcoin holding amounts for each one of the Bitcoin spot ETFs that was approved. Okay, like for instance, you have GBTC, and they actually hold at 592,000 Bitcoin. You have IBIT. This is your BlackRock sponsored Bitcoin ETF. They have 25,000 Bitcoin. All right. And you can just go down the list and take a look at all these other ones. But just knowing the fact that these ETFs have all of a sudden acquired this much Bitcoin gives us an idea that the demand for Bitcoin is strong, and it's going to be driven by these spot ETFs. These financial associations and businesses are going to have to wind up buying it. The money managers, they have to buy Bitcoin for their spot ETFs as long as the spot ETFs see demand. So that's going to drive the Bitcoin price appreciation. But we're going to get to that in a minute. Something very interesting I want to show you guys when it comes to the available Bitcoin on the market. Now, first, I want to go ahead and go through what's been going on in the futures market. We had a significant drop today in the Bitcoin price, in which we saw Bitcoin go from about 42,700 all the way down to about 40,700. So almost a $2,000 price drop with Bitcoin. And you can see here that we've had significant long liquidations in that time period over the last about 5 or 6, over a period of about 5 or 6 hours. Significant long liquidations. Longs got trapped and they were forced to liquidate, and they moved the price even lower. That's one of the reasons why we saw Bitcoin take a big plunge today, and the reason why it still continues to be even lower. Now, if we take a look at the heat map, what that looks like for us currently is that there's not really a lot of, zoom out here a little bit, there's not really a lot of liquidation levels currently for Bitcoin. The highest one that we've seen that's kind of close by here's at 43,600. That's $782 million worth of Bitcoin longs, okay? Or sorry, Bitcoin shorts. If we ever do go back up to 43,600 in the near term, we're going to wind up just liquidating a massive number of those shorts up here. Now, on the other side, longs, there's not really a lot of longs liquidity or so below the current price. We're looking at here at maybe about 40,500. There's about $60 million worth of longs. But it just goes to show you that over the past 5 hours, we've seen significant long liquidations. There's not a lot of long liquidity left at the nearby levels, so it's very unlikely that we'll get another flash crash like we've seen in the past 5 hours. Now, if we go ahead and take a look at what it looks like for the Bitcoin chart TA, we can see here that I've outlined right here this little band of support. This kind of runs from about 41,500 to about 40,500, about $1,000 or so. And this is where I would expect a lot of buyers to step in. And in fact, it came all the way down to that level today at about 40,500, and it bounced off of that level. Buyers stepped in, and now we're sitting at about 41,200. Now, that being said, if Bitcoin does drop below about that 40,000 level, that is an area in which I'd be very interested in adding to my current Bitcoin stash. I've been sitting on the sidelines this whole time, waiting for a great opportunity to add to my portfolio when Bitcoin has become undervalued, or at least oversold, and we haven't quite reached that level just yet. If you take a look at the daily RSI, we're at 41, so we're not even close to we're not at oversold yet, which is usually under 30. That's what I'm going to be looking for. And if you take a look at the Bitcoin bullish percent index, we're at about 20, which is not bad, but I'm definitely more interested in it when it goes much lower than that. Now, it is definitely possible that it will actually go under 40. We'll have to see whether this support holds or not. If this support doesn't hold, we're definitely coming all the way back down to 37, 38. I think that's a possibility, but it's probably going to be a very brief drop down to those levels, and then the buyers are going to wind up stepping in. Alternatively, if we do hold this support here at 40,600, then we can expect that Bitcoin is going to rally all the way back up to about 44K before it hits major resistance. So again, if Bitcoin comes down in this area, I'm going to be ready and waiting to buy additional Bitcoin under 40K. That's my price target right now, what I'm looking at. All right. So you may ask yourself, okay, so who's been selling Bitcoin over the past couple of days? Well, if you go ahead and take a look at the Crypto Quant Miners Reserve, which gives you an idea of the number of Bitcoin in miners' wallets, what you can see here is that over about a month and a half period, so from the start of December to where we are right now, that miners have sold about 10,000 Bitcoin. So about a month and a half, they've sold about 10,000 Bitcoin or so. And that's one of the reasons why we've seen a strong kind of sell the news sort of reaction to the Bitcoin spot ETF. Miners have been taking advantage of these incredibly high prices, and they've been selling a lot of their coins. So as you saw here, Bitcoin went up to about 46,900 or about 48K on that day. And we saw a significant number of miners' coins leaving their wallets and heading to the exchanges, and they've been basically suppressing the price for the past 2 weeks. Okay, we've seen, apart from these little spikes here, which are probably created during their generation of Bitcoin, apart from those little spikes, we're starting to see it come all the way back down to approximately 1.8 million Bitcoin that they're holding currently. Now, if we take a look at the exchange reserve, which is the number of Bitcoin on the exchange, on all the exchanges here, what we can see is that it's actually ticked up over, again, the same period of time, going all the way back from December 4th down to where we are right now, currently January 17th, January 18th. We've seen that the number of Bitcoin in the exchanges have gone up, and the reason for that is because we've seen just, again, a significant amount of selling, a significant amount of Bitcoin going to the exchanges, and then just a total complete lack of buyers appearing in these areas. And the reason for that seems to be a lot of profit taking going on here. Miners are selling, and the overall hype from the Bitcoin spot ETF approval has largely died down. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is the Bitcoin NVT Golden Cross. I've talked about this metric quite a few times, but I kind of use it to help me sort of predict the tops, the local tops and the local bottoms in the Bitcoin price. Now, we can see here at about December 24th, we reached the top here of the Bitcoin price. Now, if you overlay this with the price, it's actually pretty close to where Bitcoin wound up. It was about 42,500. It went up just a little bit more than that to about 47, 48K. And then after that, we can see the indicator go down to the green area. And when you go down to the green area, you have a possible local bottom being reached there. So we're seeing that we're very close here to the local bottom, like we've seen several times in the past. It's not a perfect indicator. It's not right 100% of the time, but I do find that it's right a majority of the time, meaning that a local bottom could be very close in the Bitcoin price, and then it would basically be all uphill from there, okay? So that's all I've got for you guys today. Let me know what you guys think about the Bitcoin price. Do you guys think that we've had kind of a sell the news type event on the Bitcoin spot ETF reaction on the approval of the Bitcoin spot ETF? And do you think that miners are going to continue to sell? Because I personally do think that they will up until a point, and then eventually they're going to return back to being hodlers like the rest of us. Let me know, leave a comment below, and I will catch you guys on the next video.